What's going on, guys? Hope you're having an amazing day today. My name is Steve. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to why US produced eggs are banned across Europe and vice versa. So I've seen this mentioned a number of times in the comments section of multiple videos at this point, and honestly I've learned enough about how much better the food regulations are in the UK specifically to understand that it makes a lot of sense that you guys in the UK and Europe in general would probably want to ban a lot of the food that is being produced in the US, because honestly, the food regulations and what they allow in the food supply here in the US is absolutely appalling. Now, granted, I don't really know what it is specifically about US produced eggs that makes them so bad that they would be banned in Europe. But I know that a lot of the other chemicals we have in specifically processed food and prepackaged foods, you guys would definitely want to ban in Europe. And I know a number of those chemicals, like some of the artificial flavorings and some of the food dyes and things like that, are banned throughout the UK and Europe. And, you know, that's a really great thing. I wish, you know, our politicians cared more about the health of the American people so that they would take the initiative and ban some of these horrible things that we currently have in our food supply. But like I said, guys, I don't know what it is about US produced eggs that are so bad they're banned in Europe, but that's where we're going to find out in this video. Anyways, guys, enough of my rambling. Let's go ahead and dive in and check out why US produced eggs are banned across Europe and vice versa.
In the United States, the United States Department of Agriculture, or the USDA, lays out regulations for how food products should be produced and processed to ensure food safety. The United States Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA on the other hand, determines the best food consumption practices to minimize health problems.
Oh man, you know, this is so hilarious because these organizations, or I won't even call them organizations, these departments within our government, they are just so sold out. They do not care about the health of the American people. It's it's laughable. They do not care at all about the health of the American people. I mean, I think you guys, you know, in the UK and Europe, I think you guys know enough about what is allowed here in the US probably that you can guess that they don't care about what is in our food supply at all. They're lining their pockets with money from the food companies, from the drug companies and so forth, and they're just allowing all sorts of garbage in our food. But yeah, anyway, sorry to rant so early. I just it's just laughable. It really is. It's laughable that these companies supposedly are there to protect the American people, they don't care at all.
Ironically, they also determine how much rat hair should be allowed in peanut butter, rat feces in your spices, and cigarette butts in your sandwich.
What?
Unless you find more than 30 insect fragments or 1 rodent hair per 100 grams of peanut butter, 9 milligrams of rodent poop per 1 kilogram of wheat, 75 mites per 100 grams of dried mushrooms, 1 maggot per 100 grams of tomato juice, and 13 insect heads every 100 grams of fig paste, the FDA expects you to compromise with the situation because, well, no food practice is perfect, humans make mistakes, restricting food laws will increase food prices, and bugs aren't that gross. Some of them are quite healthy. At the same time, the USDA has laid out guidelines for how commercial eggs should be produced, processed, and stored to make sure eggs remain safe for public consumption. The UK has their own regulations, but their regulations are quite opposite to those in the US, making it illegal for eggs produced in the UK to be sold in the US and those produced in the US to be sold in the UK.
Now that's interesting. Like you said up in the title, vice versa. So it's interesting. I can understand, based off the little bit that I know about the food regulations in the US, I can understand why you guys wouldn't want our eggs. But why would we not want your eggs? Doesn't make sense to me. I mean, one side is always going to be better than the other, and so you would think we would be, whichever side is worse would be willing to accept the better version of that product, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, it just makes sense.
But if guidelines in both the cases are made for food safety and are in the public interest, why are they so contrasting to one another? Which of them is the right practice, or are both of them equally good? In the case of American eggs, the USDA requires its egg farms to properly wash and sanitize their eggs before they reach consumers in order to remove any dirt and feces on the exterior of the eggs. These contaminants are bacterial in nature and may pose a food safety threat when they enter a kitchen environment. For instance, one may crack open an egg and then proceed to prepare a sandwich with those bacteria-ridden hands. Also, eggshells are porous, so there's a possibility of microbes leaking inside the egg. As per the regulation, eggs are washed with warm water, at least 20 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the internal temperature of the eggs, and at a minimum of 90 degrees Fahrenheit. A detergent that won't impart any foreign odors to the eggs is also used. After washing, the eggs are rinsed with a warm water spray containing a chemical sanitizer to remove any remaining bacteria, and then are dried to remove excess moisture. Every step of this whole process is scientifically designed and must be executed with extreme care, otherwise this procedure can lead to more damage than good. For example, the drying of eggs is crucial because a dry eggshell acts as a barrier to bacterial intrusion, while the presence of moisture makes the shell more permeable, exposing it to a pathogen attack. Furthermore, moisture itself may act as a medium for bacterial growth, and water provides an excellent vehicle for pathogens such as Salmonella. The right temperature of warm washing water is important because water colder than the egg could cause the contents of the egg to contract, sucking polluted water in through the shell. Results may get worse if a facility is not careful enough to regularly change the washing water and eggs are left to sit in the dirty bath.
So basically, American commercial eggs are sprayed with some sort of a sanitizer. And it again is this over reliance on cleanliness when it comes to food. It's something that is very new to humans to be this worried about how clean something is. Oh no, the bacteria. Oh, it's like, dude, the bacteria is actually there to protect things. It's actually a good thing. Bacteria are everywhere. We wouldn't survive without bacteria. If you give yourself low levels of bacteria, your body, your immune system is going to know how to take care of those things, make sure there's not an overgrowth of that bacteria in your body. The healthiest people are always the ones that aren't so worried about the cleanliness of everything. It's one of the reasons why we have super bugs now is because there's hand sanitizer everywhere. Instead of just using a bar of soap, like we've always done, we have to spray sanitizer on everything, including the food in the U.S. This is why I don't like to buy commercial eggs from the grocery store in the U.S. We do, but I prefer to get them from a local farmer. But based off of time frame and stuff, and how much if I need eggs, with the next day or so, I might not be able to get to a farmer, so I might have to buy grocery store eggs. But I prefer the ones that are right from the farm. They're not washed. They have specks of dirt on them. And guess what? They're not refrigerated. Oh no, wow, not refrigerated eggs. Yes, you don't want refrigerated eggs if you can help it. They last forever, just shelf stable. That's what they're meant to be. And it's just so funny that most Americans don't know this because they're so disconnected from their food that they think that, I'm guessing a lot of people don't even know where eggs come from, honestly. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, guys, don't want to ramble too much, but yeah, I believe that is one of the differences. I believe that you guys in the UK and probably the entirety of Europe probably don't refrigerate your eggs. And I know, that's something that I've when I buy them from a farmer's market or something like that, or just a local farmer, they're not refrigerated. I won't refrigerate them usually, sometimes, but usually I won't, because they don't need it. And I know when I went to Asia, all the eggs are sitting there just on the shelf. They're not refrigerated. And anyways, guys, sorry to ramble. Let's continue this.
With such high risk of bacteria, if cleaned improperly, the UK and almost all of the world except the US believe that eggs should not be washed or cleaned before they're sold to consumers. As far as dirty eggs are concerned,
I'll clap
the
on that.
EU's egg marketing law encourages good husbandry on farms. Because eggs can't be cleaned or washed, it's in the farmer's best interest to produce the cleanest eggs possible, as no one is
There you
going to
go.
buy their eggs if they're dirty. This may not sound too convincing to you, but there's more to it. An egg carries a thin layer of coating on its outer surface called cuticle. This layer
little white
naturally
powder
protects
looking
eggs from
stuff,
almost all
I believe.
contamination and also keeps the eggs fresh for longer periods. Washing eggs damage most of this protective layer and makes them vulnerable to contamination from pathogens and other microorganisms. In absence of washing, an egg is capable of protecting itself naturally, and if care is taken while handling the eggs, the contamination of kitchen environments can also be eliminated. The UK, thus, believes that a little care is better than the huge risk and cost of washing eggs. Another thing that makes British eggs and American eggs different to one another is how they're stored. In the UK and almost everywhere in Europe, you can see eggs sitting in unrefrigerated shelves of supermarkets. The EU regulations stipulates that eggs should in general not be refrigerated before selling to the final consumer.
Absolutely.
Chilled eggs when left outside at room temperature during transit between the supermarket and the customer's home may sweat and form moisture on its surface, facilitating the growth of bacteria and probably their ingression into the egg. The American system, on the other hand, instructs its seller to refrigerate eggs under 40 degrees Fahrenheit in order to decrease the risk of salmonella. Salmonella isn't a big problem in the UK because European farmers have been vaccinating their hens against salmonella since the 1990s and have received good results. Vaccination in the US is not a common practice. Because of all of these differences in how eggs are processed and stored in the two nations, British eggs are significantly richer in taste. But how would you know? British eggs can't be sold in the US, and the US ones in the UK.
All right, guys. It's not surprising to me, that we in the US, it's like everything has to be more complicated instead of just making sure the commercial egg farmers, take a few extra steps to make sure the eggs, the surroundings of the chickens are a little cleaner. In other words, that they aren't in these like massive dark pens. Oh man, it's pretty bad, some of the conditions that some of the animals are in. I don't know about how good the animal husbandry is in the UK and Europe. It's something I actually need to look into. But I know in the US we have these massive, what are they called? I can't think of what you call them. I know that for like cows, would they be cows? They'd be CAFOs. What's that short for? I can't remember what that's short for, but basically they're these just gigantic industrialized farms. Like the chickens are stuck in these dark houses and then they don't ever get to see sunlight. They never get to peck the ground. And it's bad, man. It's not good. It produces a low quality yolk. The yolks you'll see from these commercial eggs are generally very pale yellow. And, and then on top of all that, like they said here, they're sanitizing them and washing them. And I mean, the chemicals who knows what the chemicals they're even spraying on are? I have no idea. But it's unfortunate. If you go to the grocery store, 9 out of 10 of the eggs you get at a grocery store, and most grocery stores, are going to be absolutely horrible. If you go to more of a health food store, you can generally get some local eggs from a local farmer that may not be washed and stuff. And so that's good. But generally speaking, you'll always see eggs refrigerated here, unless you're getting them from the farmer themselves, or maybe at the farmer's market you won't, because they're coming directly from a farmer as well. But in the grocery store, which is what they're talking about here, this is what you'll find. And it's unfortunate. The eggs are so much lower quality than what you guys have access to easily in the UK and Europe in general, from what I'm guessing, what I'm seeing here. Now that's not just like he said that the UK, or did he say UK version or European version? Either way, you guys in the UK and Europe, he says that the eggs there are more rich or tastier. I can't remember exactly what he said there, but basically they're better. And I think that is the case for like your average grocery store egg. You go to a grocery store in the UK or Europe somewhere, and you go to the grocery store here in the US and you pull out any random eggs off the shelf there, I'm almost certain, I'm almost 100% certain that the egg quality is going to be so much better. It's going to taste better. It's going to be more nutrient rich in the UK and Europe. But it's not like we can't get good quality eggs here. Like I said, you go to a farmer, they're growing the chickens and the eggs just the same as you guys would, on a small farm in the UK or Europe. It's harder access for us to get those eggs. We have to go out of our way. We can't just go to Walmart or one of these other grocery stores, like your average grocery store, and just get those quality eggs. It's something that we have to go out of our way for, and then they're going to be much more expensive. In some cases, maybe double the price for a dozen of good quality farm fresh eggs versus what you'll find in the grocery store. It's just unfortunate. All our food supplies like that. Unfortunately, like the way they grow so much, specifically, it's both our animal foods and our crops. I mean, our crops are sprayed nonstop with all sorts of chemicals, and then our livestock are just put in these cramped quarters. Some, like the chickens, aren't able to get sunlight usually in these commercialized, industrialized farms, if you will. I wouldn't even call these places farms. They're just like they're manufacturing units. They're warehouses. They're I don't even know what you want to call that. Factories. They're factory farms. Yeah. Why didn't I think about that? They're factory farms. And, it's like unfortunate that in the US, it's so much harder to get access to foods, the animal foods that weren't from factory farms, that you have to go out of your way. And it costs a lot more money to actually get access to that, generally speaking. Before I go, I just want to say, there's limited access to that in grocery stores. Like, you might be able to find some local good quality eggs in a grocery store, but it's going to be like one brand. It's not like, it's going to be much more expensive. But anyways, guys, enough of my rambling. This was really interesting. And it just makes a lot of sense why you guys would want to ban this stuff. I would want to ban it too if I had the ability to do so. I don't want these eggs in the grocery store. I would rather just have farm fresh eggs sitting on a shelf in the store. And it's ridiculous that they can't do that. I don't know. I don't really know the reason for it. But anyways, guys, enough of my rambling. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.